That's right, it is new bike day from Lectric e-bikes, the debut of the Lectric XPress. This is the first of many new features in an electric bike for Lectric e-bikes. Specifically, the XPress is their first 27.5-inch wheeled electric bike for commuting, and it also is the debut of their in-house torque sensor. So there are a lot of really cool things to talk about on this bike, and we did get a chance to ride it while we were down in Arizona recently. And we also had a chance to talk with Levi and Robbie to hear about the torque sensor direct from them, which is really great. So we're gonna show you that, talk about this new bike and all of the new features and tech about this really rad bike that comes in starting at $1,000. Well, while we were down in Arizona visiting Lectric, they asked us to ride their prototype Lectric XPress to give some feedback into this new torque sensor system, but also to get a firsthand experience and ride on the new bike. Just with the timeline and this bike coming very rapidly, they knew that it would be very tight for shipping to get one of these new bikes out to us in order to get a review up for the launch. So they wanted to ensure that we had a chance to throw a leg over it and take it for a spin while we were down there, and we did, and it was quite a blast. This bike definitely packs a lot of power, and we'll get into some of the specs and jump over to a little interview we did with Levi and Robbie as they shared with us about the torque sensor specifically and kind of what it took for them to design it, as well as what it offers to this new bike. Starting out, the Lectric XPress will come in two different frame options. There'll be a high step or step over and then a low step or step through frame design. The Lectric XPress will be offered with two different drivetrain platforms. They're gonna have the Stealth M24 500 watt motor with a 10.4 amp hour battery, and that will come in at $999 starting out. And there will also be a Stealth M24 750 watt motor with a 14 amp hour battery. And that will come in at $1,299. So two bikes coming in for under $1,500, really keeping up with Lectric's goal of making very affordable bikes that are feature packed, enjoyable to ride, and built well. The Lectric XPress is targeted at urban riders, specifically commuters, as a very easy functional bike to get around. That's focus was to deliver power as well as control of that power with that torque sensor, but more specifically, a very comfortable and stable ride. Now, you have likely seen the Lectric One, and this bike was very unique for Lectric and really allowed them to reach a lot of major milestones as a brand, specifically as a bike manufacturing brand, and they were able to introduce that pinion mid-drive internal gear shifting system, as well as pair up with gates for a belt drive system. And as a whole, we're able to deliver a very smooth, comfortable bike that was still very compact and powerful. The Lectric XPress will definitely stand taller than the One does with those 27.5 by 2.5-inch wide tires. The XPress will have a 7-speed drivetrain on there with hydraulic disc brakes with 180mm rotors, so plenty of braking power and plenty of gears to shift around to really take advantage of that torque sensor, as well as that Stealth M24 drive unit, whether that be the 500 or the 750 watt motor. Both of them will deliver great power, except for one we'll just have a little bit more. Trickling over from the One, we will see Lectric's new color display located up on the handlebars. So this is a color LCD display. It's nice and bright and has a new UI to it. So you get all of the readouts that they feel are necessary for riders to see while they're out riding around town. Other odds and ends of the XPress include fenders, both front and rear, as well as a kickstand to make things easy for parking, and a headlight, as well as a tail light that will get brighter when you grab the brakes. As with all the bikes in the Lectric lineup, the XPress will fit a wide range of riders, all the way down to 5'4" and on up to 6'4". So at 6 feet tall and Samson just a little bit shorter than myself, we're kind of right in the middle there, and neither one of us found the XPress to be too large or too small while we were riding it around. The XPress comes in at 57 pounds and has an overall load capacity of 330 pounds, so really can bring a lot of gear with you when you're cruising around town. Of course, in traditional Lectric electric fashion. The Express will be a class 1, 2, or 3 electric bike. It does have that thumb throttle located on there, but will provide pedal assist up to 28 miles per hour. Well, that's a basic overview of the specs on the Express. For now, let's go talk to Levi and Robbie to hear about this torque sensor, because I know that I was eager to hear all about it.
Yeah, so up until this point, we've had cadence sensors on all of our bikes, and cadence sensors are awesome, but this has been something that some customers have been asking about, is to get that torque sensor experience. And for those people out there that don't know the difference between a cadence sensor experience and a torque sensor experience, basically a cadence sensor just senses whether you're pedaling or not. So with a cadence sensor, as soon as you start to pedal, it goes, okay, turn the pedal assist on, and then it gives you a set and fixed level of assistance. With the torque sensor though, it actually senses how hard you're pushing on the pedals and will respond, directly proportionally. So it's like when you're riding a regular bike and you pedal harder, you go faster or you get more power, right? And that's exactly what a torque sensor does with the motor, right? It's like as you're putting in more energy, you're getting out more energy from that motor. And so with our torque sensor in particular, we've built it from the ground up to be an awesome experience. We obsess over the customer experience here. And so what's awesome about this torque sensor actually is basically, bikes around the price point that Lectric plays at don't have torque sensors, right? Or they'll break really quickly. They won't be very responsive because, if you're pedaling at 45 RPM, 60 RPM, 80 RPM, that's plenty of input data to be able to create that smooth power curve that people expect from a torque sensor. And what that gets us really is the ability to put this torque sensor on our bikes, right? Like I said, no one is really doing torque sensors at this price point, and they're definitely not doing them well. And it's with Lectric's scale and volume that we've been able to build this product, work with really awesome suppliers, and get this on bikes at this price point.
Yeah, and the other cool thing is, in my opinion, it creates a more natural feeling relation where even if you are pedaling with an imbalance, in which some riders do have, this is going to compensate for that and balance out your pedaling experience. And so, on some torque sensors, I've always been the one that's pushed back against a torque sensor. That's why I tasked the team with before of, all right, develop me a way higher resolution cadence sensor, and that's why we did the 96 magnet one. But I understand there's some people that just want a torque sensor just to have one, but there's these problems when you get to certain torque levels that you kind of feel it hitting against the end, and it feels more choppy. And then if you're going really fast, like you're exerting all your energy just to go 28 miles per hour, and that is something that's lame. I want to choose my workout. I don't want to break myself just so I can go 28 miles per hour. And so we did this, but then we paired it with the PWR system. So you can be dumping 24 amps and still get the benefits of a torque sensor in terms of that immediacy and that natural feeling, but we're not going to force you to work out. You can get to that 28 mile per hour whether you're in class 2 or you're in class 5, pedal assist 5, but it's going to change your riding experience. And so I think it gives the customer and rider a lot more optionality of their riding experience, which I think plays better than any other torque sensor in the market right now. And since we developed it and have invested so much into it on the front end, it allows us to really make it ultra attainable. And so it coming in at, it's the most affordable torque sensor e-bike on the planet at $999, or at least here in North America. So like that's a huge win because people didn't think you could get torque sensors that low, yet we have now done it, and I think we have done it better than what torque sensors on bikes cost twice as much. But I think you just got to ride it to experience it.
Well, after hearing all about this new torque sensor and technology from Lectric, we were really eager to go and try and ride it. And to our surprise, they had a prototype model available for us to go outside and take for a rip around. We were able to cruise around the neighborhoods, up and down some main roads, and really get a good firsthand feel of this new system. We were not able to go into all of our testing kind of standards as far as hills and sustained riding, 30 minutes later, an hour later, to see how it does after the battery has decreased some. But our first impressions are kind of what is most important here. And our first impression was, wow, they did a very good job. It almost has a feel as though the bike is fighting to help you. So not fighting against you. It is championing you to get to the speeds that you actually want to be pedaling at. So for instance, in a mode 3, kind of halfway in their tier of their 5 different modes of pedal assist, we knew that we would have to be putting in a little bit of extra effort to get up to that class 3 28-mile-per-hour rating. But we were shocked to find ourselves not having to exert as much energy to be achieving that goal and getting up to those higher speeds. And when comparing this bike, they had a few other bikes available, specifically the Aventon Level 2, which we do agree with them is a very comparable bike and kind of side by side. They're very similar in what they're offering, who the target rider is. And switching between the two, we were able to quickly notice that that torque sensor enabled on their system and the way that they have it programmed, it really does help you much more thoroughly to get up to those higher speeds easier, as well as from a stop and accelerating. It's just a different program than Aventon's, and anyone can do an update and change things, but for right now, they are very different in how they get you up to speed, and that's very impressive that Lectric's first torque sensor is able to come in there and offer you a very unique, different riding style. And after getting a chance to take that new Express for a ride, we were able to think about it a little bit further, and we do agree that the hybrid blend of the Lectric PWR technology as well as this new torque sensor coming together really offers a very good, fun blend, specifically for the riders that are familiar with Lectrics, like the feel of a cadence sensor bike, really don't want to put out a lot of work. Levi mentions it all the time. If he wants to get a workout, he wants to get a workout, but he doesn't always want that and doesn't want to be forced into having to work out to get a bike to go fast. And that's where this blend of the PWR technology and the torque sensor come together to help you kind of stay more on his side of things, but also you can fight a little bit harder, go for that workout and get the bike to perform accordingly. Now, it's been a very big year for Lectric so far, specifically with the One, and now the Express has landed, and their first torque sensor bike in-house really is impressive. If you get a chance to ride one, we definitely encourage you to. And if you are interested in a bike, for example, like the Aventon Level 2, you will definitely want to look deeper into the Express. It really does deliver a lot of power, and I think it's really great that they are offering the same bike from them with 2 different platforms, a 500 watt for those of you that don't need all of that extra power and would like to save a few dollars. You're still getting 55 Newton meters of torque and a slightly smaller battery. Whereas those of you that want a larger battery, a little bit more power, spend a few $100s more and have a little bit bigger bike. Now the differences between those two really will come down to that power and overall range, but it's a very small window between the two. So if you are looking for a new bike, be sure to check out the Lectric XPress. This, for $1,000 to $1,300, this is a great bike to consider for urban commuting, especially when you can throw racks on it and be kitted, ready to go, turnkey, get an extra battery, extend your range up over 100 miles, kind of do whatever you want with it without breaking the bank. So thanks again for watching. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to leave them down below. This is just a quick first look as we anticipate seeing an Express show up for us to do our long-term review in the future. But for now, the first in-house torque sensor, 27.5 urban commuter from Lectric, the Express. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you in the next one.